So guys, I am back with yet another Avowed video, and today guys we go over the patch notes for the latest update in 1.2.3 for Avowed. Let's go. How's it going guys? My name is DPJ, and if you do enjoy the video, leaving a like really helps out, and if you like what you see and want to see more, be sure to subscribe. So this was dropped literally 12 hours ago last night. I know many players, including myself, completely missed this, but if you've had an update for your gaming console or PC, this is that. So let's go through all the changes, and there's many of them, including many fixes people have wanted to certain quests and so much more. So let's go people. Okay, so they start with a new patch is now available. The update includes important fixes, so be sure to update your game when you see it. If you are encountering any problems, please continue to let us know at support.obsidian.net. Thank you for playing, and we appreciate your support. Okay, so starting off with crashes and major issues. Resolved a crash related to game thread timing out. The player will no longer crash after pressing escape upon climbing a ladder. The player will no longer crash when playing on PC with an Xbox account signed in and the internet connection is lost. The player will no longer experience a rare crash related to rendering. Okay, cool. So quests and area design. So Yaxlai now correctly advances a path to the garden quest, even if one last drink was completed before meeting Tamerti and Yaxlai in Third Born. Ulfric will now appear as intended in Paradise near the end of the quest Dawn Treader. Shadows of the Past quest now progresses correctly if the player enters a Naku Bay. Does that say? I apologise if I butchered that, but yes, as soon as the player enters this area, immediately after it becomes accessible. Sansa now correctly rewards the player when turning in the first map to him. Oh, I actually didn't know that, so he's actually supposed to give you something. Great, I'm going back to him. Wolfriff's map is now removed from the player's inventory when giving it to Sansa. A quest available icon is no longer present on the map for a quest giver in Shatterscape if they have been killed. A conversation with Yaxlai during the quest The Siege of Paradise will no longer drop earlier than intended. A dream conversation in Dawnshore no longer ends earlier than intended. Corrected some conditionals that were preventing certain end slides from playing. The quest mark for the quest Precious Light appears where intended if a Jalgund was spoken to before the quest starts. Amadio in Emerald Stair no longer reacts as if the Zurips have been killed if they've been damaged by an elemental interaction. This is actually a guy related to the Infinite Gold glitch, which we need to check and see if that still works. In fact, I'll check right now people and come back to the video. Give me 1 second. Okay, so having checked guys, I can confirm it has been patched and he no longer gives you the item an infinite amount of time. So yes, the Infinite Gold glitch for this game has been patched. Okay, so we're going to move on with the patch notes. So some dream thralls outside of Naku Bay will no longer drop dead out of nowhere. Some Zurips in the Deadfall Highlands in Shatterscape will no longer follow the player outside of the intended area. Barrier collision is now correctly removed after the conversation in front of Naku. Is actually Qbao? I thought that was an I at the end. My apologies people, in Shatterscape, and fast travelling to the party camp. The encounter for the Baldereno's bounty now spawns more reliably. The player can no longer skip talking to Dale after burning the nest as part of the quest Fire in the Mine. The player can no longer pick up 4 of the same greatsword outside of Paradise. The player can now give the illicit goods to Deco under certain conditions as part of the quest The Wasteland Courier. The player can now properly exit the conversation with Forge Master Dele in Soulless Keep if they are unsure which weapon they want to upgrade. The player can no longer use parkour on the rocks to bypass part of the quest Boundaries of Antiquity. The Pyromancer in Dawnshore no longer clips into and out of the ground. The quest Message from Afar will complete properly if the player exited the Strangle route in an unintended way. There is now a proper quest marker for the quest Mapping the Living Lands, Talawine's Tusks, and that is it for quests people. Okay, so systems, gameplay and balance updates. Corrected the requirements for the achievement The Outer Worlds. Arcane Veil balance adjustments, damage reduction from a 50% to a 25 and cooldown of now it's 15 seconds from 10. Environmental fixes, characters no longer affected by electrified water when standing above it, jumping over it or standing on an ice platform. Companion behavior, companions will now assist in combat more reliably. Companions will no longer rarely disappear after skipping a cutscene. Combat encounters, encounters with waves of enemies now spawn more reliably. Fixed rare cases where NPCs will teleport under the map. Improved behavior for waterborne electrical damage. Melee weapons except one-handed swords now properly trigger camera shake when hitting enemies. Newly spawned enemies during combat now detect the player correctly. Player movement and camera fixes. Fix an issue where the cigarette's guard weapon would enlarge when taking damage before a conversation. The player camera no longer lurches when opening a small lockbox. The player will no longer levitate briefly after opening a sarcophagus. Momentarily uncrouch when opening a small lockbox. Be unable to move after loading a save where Arcane Veil was active. Get stuck aiming down sights after a cutscene. Okay, so audio improvements. Adjusted music mix volumes based on story moments and vistas in Emerald Star, Galawan's Tusk, Shatter's Scarp and the Garden. Sound fixes. Arduous delay of motion. Ability now plays an audio effect upon enemy impact. Barbaric Shout now correctly plays the shout sound every time it's used. And on screen now guys, you are seeing a visual and art fixes with a few adjustments here. I'm not too sure many people care about this. We have user interface and controls. A few changes here guys. If you want to pause the video and read through these, you can be my guest. And then lastly guys, we have miscellaneous. But other than this guys, that is the patch or the patch notes for patch 1.2.3. I apologize, I'm a little behind in regards to covering this. Like I said, I saw it dropped last night. I saw it first thing this morning. For some reason I wasn't notified about this update, but yes, for those like me who missed this, here are the patch notes. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like really helps me out. If you like what you see and want to see more, be sure to subscribe, and hopefully guys, I will see you on that next one.